Hi. Hello, everybody. It's me, Master Spins, the guy who was supposed to upload on this channel, but keeps forgetting to. Um, okay, wow, live again. It's been too long. It's been way, way too long, like an insane amount. I don't know, maybe like it's at least been a few weeks, which I regret. I wish it hasn't been only 2 weeks that I've done this. And you know what? I'm not even going to look at the views or anything like that. I would prefer not to at all, just because it just makes me feel, it's not a good feeling. So I'm going to try to keep that at a minimum, and I'll check the chat every once in a while. So saying it on Facebook. I feel like most people, at least at my school, are just going to be like, ooh, all the seniors are just going to sit and they're going to relax. It's still finals for us, but some people are done. Some people are already done with school. So, I mean, congrats to you if you're done with school. If you're a senior and you also are graduating this year, or you have already graduated, then congratulations to you. Like, good job. You did great because you survived, you passed, and there's no shame in that. There's only that there should be a sense of completion and glory just knowing that you are done, you are safe, and you will be going to college. Um, or maybe you won't. You might be going to the workforce or whatever. I'm going to college. I know that for sure. So let me just tweet this out, or not tweet this out, put this on Instagram, which is what I've been doing as I've been talking. I've been trying to say we're live less because on SGP I say it constantly to the point where it's probably kind of annoying, but it's okay. I don't see any problem with it. The weird thing is though, for for Twitter, or not Twitter, yeah, for Instagram, it keeps telling me like this hashtag has like 2,000 different posts on it, and then I check it and it has like my 5, like nowhere near what this thing is saying. And I've never understood that. At the same time, I do need to open Discord actually, and I'm gonna let the world know that I'm live. Yeah, but I will be doing some gaming stuff on SGP. So if you're excited for that, feel free to let me know. But you guys can be excited for multiple things. But I'm just gonna say it on Discord. I'm gonna stretch this out so I'm not even gonna see my face for a little bit. So there's gonna be a bit of typing. Okay. Okay. Just give me a second to type this in. And as I'm speaking, it makes it harder to actually think. Okay. Hey, there we go. It's now on Discord, which is awesome. I'm not going to tell the group chat. So I don't know if there's anyone else. I mean, I could tell Eric. Eric does like popping in here and there. So I'll just let him know that I'm live. Boop, boop, boop. Send, Ernie. Okay. So I actually forgot some of the stuff that I wanted to show downstairs because I was talking about some some DC stuff, like, like Batman and Wonder Woman, and actually the two people I'm talking about, I didn't even talk about. The Wonder Woman movie, I was definitely talking about that to my brother, and just different comic book stuff, the show stuff, just because it's fun to talk about. But yeah, I codenamed this in the little stream note thing. I codenamed this Insane Stream because we just have a good bundle. I mean, it's not as much as I would have liked. I did forget a few of these, and hopefully I remember a lot of these, because there's a lot that's happened that you guys need to be caught up on. So hopefully I just remember, and hopefully these streams go completely okay. But do you guys like my haircut? I mentioned it in a video that I recorded yesterday, because I had it cut yesterday, but I just didn't. It was one of those things where I had it cut, but there was not really too much to say about it. I don't know. But I decided to do a video because I had some other topics, and I was like, you know what? I've had the red hair for a good 6 months. It's crazy that it's been 6 months with that red hair, because it was the same amount with the purple hair. I don't know about the half black, half red that I mention every so often, but I'm sure that that was a few months at least. So, I mean, it was just time for a change, and I do still have the scarf because it's comfortable for me. Why change something that's comfortable for you? Because if it's comfortable for you, that's what really matters. That's what should completely matter. Like, oh geez, and man, I don't know why, but anytime I do like a movement, it just like glitches out. Like, I know the frame rate's not that good, but still, you could at least be trying, stream. Nah, it's trying. It's trying. Um, it's my current frame rate is too high. That's great to know. These are things you have set up in here already, though. So I don't know why this is a problem. It shouldn't be a problem at all. No. But yeah. So art. More like photography, though. The cool thing about photography, that I've mentioned this a few times about me having that class. But for the final project, we ended up taking these portraits with with the teacher's dog, and his name's Moby. So we were able to sit down, and this is actually on my list. We were able to sit down with the dog and just take a picture with the dog and get this portrait, which is amazing. And oh my god, I forgot the picture downstairs. Jeez. But we got two pictures. At least I did. So the first thing is, to at least have a dog in there, you have to fit it in with the curriculum. You have to actually make there be a reason for the dog being there. But then once you have that reason, you're all good to. I'm sorry, the frame rate just keeps messing me up. Stupid frame rate. Stop it. But yeah, so we had to go into the 8th grade hallway for this, which, I mean, it doesn't mind. He owns that place, the teacher, which he has this whole entire big, large studio like esque place in the 8th grade hallway, which is where we went. We just kind of sat wherever. And to take the pictures with the dog, he wanted us to write our names down on this list so that he could organize it. He could know who is who in the pictures, print them out, get it all good so that he doesn't mess up, so that it's an easier time for him to do, which I totally get. That's totally fine. And I mean, you have to have a line in those situations, which is nice. I noticed though that this one girl, every time it would be ready for the next picture, she would just go and like go to get up, and it would be like, nope, you can't do that because there's already somebody who signed off and sat there. But instead of like coming up and actually being like, okay, I'm gonna sign as the next name, she'd sit back down, and when it when it would happen again, then she'd get up and she'd go to try to get into line, but by the time she'd even like be on her feet, it would happen again. So when I was noticing that someone was already done, because I was sitting by where you entered the line and where you wrote your name on there, because if somebody wrote their name, they were slotted for there. Because if you didn't have that person, it would mess up the whole list. You guys know how lists work. So I was like, you know what? I want to go, but I don't want to just be a jerk, because I can see that this girl really wants to just go and take the picture, probably because she likes animals. Because if she was afraid of dogs, she'd say something. But she just couldn't get a break. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna provide that break. And I just kind of looked over at her and I was like I just motioned my head enough to be like, go now, go, go now. You know, subtle enough to where only she was able to like figure it out, at least, where it really wasn't a bother, but she could actually just pick out and be like, okay, I'm good. And she went over there, she got her picture, which that was really cool. And right after her, I was like, you know what? While she's taking her picture, I'll put my name on the list. And I did, or at least either that or like after a person who did theirs before her, but I'm not really sure. Which, that's okay. But the reason I said we took two pictures is because one, we took the one for the project that I'm about to talk about, and two, we ended up taking a from a camera called a Fuji. He took a picture of us, and then we were just able to keep the picture. Those old timey like Polaroid pictures where they'd print out and then you'd shake them, but apparently shaking them is a myth and it actually makes it worse. And it's just like, why is it looking awful? Why? I mean, I guess that does make sense if you're doing like this to a picture, like you're just like, die picture, die, then it's not gonna come out right. I guess logically that makes sense. But then you also have the fact that once it's you're not doing that, which it would develop if you were doing that, it just colors could go the wrong place or whatever. But the cool thing is you get to watch it develop. And as I said for the photogram, it's really cool to watch it develop and just watch it go from nothing to just something. And that was a few weeks ago. But for the final project, he took that picture, the first picture, and he printed it out in a sheet that was like about this big, like like that. And he was like, okay, this is basically like a color by number thing. And then there were no numbers, you know, but it was most like that, basically. So we'd have to color it in a certain way and then shade it a certain way so that it would look right. And the project was to make the photo look like a painting. And to do that, you had to blend, you had to use the right shades, and then we also had a color scheme. And I picked blue because I love blue. I like the color blue. I like the color yellow as well, but baby blue is my favorite color. So I was like, you know what? If I can do a blue scheme, then I'm gonna do a blue scheme because why not? That makes sense for me. That works for me. And it was a good 8 oil crayons that you could use, which honestly I feel like now that was probably a mistake. It doesn't really matter now because I'm out of school, you know. I've just got the graduation stuff. But really, it probably would have been easier for me if I had done a different color scheme with more stuff to use. But if you blended them together, then you could get like lighter or darker shades, so it wasn't anything too major per se. So I ended up using all of that, and I got a good portion done. I got the background done, I got the floor done, well, half the floor done, and I didn't get to myself, the dog, or the portrait, or like any of the stuff on the floor or the table or whatever, because I just ran out of time. I'm very, very detail oriented. If I can put more detail into something, that's what I will do, because I don't know what it is. It's just that urge, that drive to just be like, okay, there's a blank space here. I can put more detail, and that detail will look good. And I put it there, and it looks fine. It looks nice. And I'm like, okay, now I got to find more places to put detail on, because that's just who I am. So this whole coloring thing, it was kind of irked me because I couldn't add more detail, because that's what I wanted to do. And there was so much I would be able to, but we had to do that traditional just color it in kind of thing. So all in all, the color scheme probably could have done a better choice, but it's not nothing too major. But the cool thing is that this was a project that you had groups. So you got your own um oil crayon box, like about like this big. I have it downstairs. Actually, probably bigger. Doesn't matter though. But oh wow. I just said something I wasn't supposed to. But anyway though, I'll get to that point in a moment. But you wrote your names on it, and then you picked another person to share it with, because there's more than one color scheme you can use, but you could do it by yourself. And I was just like, well, I need a partner, because this was before you said, or you could do it solo, of course, because that would have definitely been helpful. But the thing is, I freaked out, because whenever I hear group, I'm just like, no, you did not just say that word, group project. Ugh. But it was okay, because it was just sharing the oil crayons, and I was able to do that. And the thing is, at the end of the project, we were able to keep them. But if you're in a group, then you have to figure out who's going to keep it, you know, who's going to have it for the weekends, who's going to have it for the weeks. I'm kidding. Um, bad jokes aside, though, I ended up getting it. And the way that happened is that we were talking about it, and he was just like, yeah, I'll just put it in my locker. Didn't sound like he really would have enjoyed them, would have really used them. And I said, if you want them, you can definitely take them. That's fine by me. Um, but if you don't want them, I will take them. And it kind of went a little bit back and forth of us trying to be nice, and eventually I was just like, you know, like I was trying to see like if you if he wanted it, because if he wanted it, I was going to be like, okay, well, you can have it, because you want it, and I'm totally fine with that, because I don't know if I'm gonna use them, when I'm gonna use them. It's a cool thing to have, and it would be a cool thing to experiment with more, but I don't want to take this away from you if you want it. But I ended up being able to get it, and I would have shown you guys, but I did break about 3 crayons, because of how you hold a pencil is how you'd hold a crayon and a colored pencil. So then I broke some of them and got all the oil color pencils, or not pencils, crayon on my hands, which just kind of like, oh no, DJ fell. DJ down. DJ down. Oh no. Okay, I got it. There we go. There's always something where DJ has fallen, and like all of these. For whatever reason, DJ always falls. I feel kind of bad for DJ. I'm sorry, DJ. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's okay. I'm so weird. Okay. But the other thing in photography in the photography section that I can mention is the fact that that's where I got my first yearbook signature. You'd probably expect it to be like, oh, it's your best friend or somebody you've known for a long time. Nope, not at all. It was actually the girl who I helped in the line for photography because I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna see if she'd be okay with signing it. Because for me, I like to try to put a goal out for myself. If it's like make a new friend by the end of the year, or you know, have somebody you barely know um sign your yearbook, which is what I did. But the reason I did that was because I was just like, okay, well that would be kind of interesting to see like what would happen. And I felt nervous because it's a person I again don't really know, and I didn't know what she'd say. I didn't know if she'd say yes, if she'd say no, you know, if she'd just be like, why do you want me to do this? Because then I'd have to give an answer, which I didn't have. But I was just like, okay, we're all good here. And she signed it. So thank you to her. Doubt she'd be watching, but thank you to her nonetheless. So I got a bunch of other yearbook signatures after that, which I got it from teachers, I got it from other students, and well, other students being my friends, and just a whole slew of people. Not like the popular kid type thing, but I feel like I get off with being very nerdy just for the fact that I'm also I try to be as nice as I possibly can. So it kind of works out in my favor because even though I'm very awkward and very, don't have a lot of interest with people, because I'm like, okay, I'll be interested in what you want to talk about, and I'll be nice. It kind of works out in my favor for that. So that's all cool. And wow, that was a good slew of just photography uh nonsense nonsense. And that was actually the first, no, it wasn't. It was one of the first things on my list. And the first thing I have on my list is actually cute black lab head out of car window. I I generally know what all of these mean, but sometimes sometimes you just don't. But that one right there, that I can't remember. I think it was for Mother's Day. You guys remember the Mother's Day video where um shoot, I didn't post that one. But anyway, um it was I'll explain in that video anyway, so don't ask about the whole Mother's Day thing. But it was just me, my sister, and my dad, and when we looked out, there was this female driving, and there was just this really adorable black lab who looked out the window and was just like, hello, hello, what are you doing? That was a bad impression of a cute dog, but I try. Uh, hello, hello. There we go. Put Tuft back. Um, but yeah, there's just short things on this list. Let's see. Over Mother's Day. This is another Mother's Day thing. We went to my grandma Angie's, and our one cousin who's he's a few years old, I think. Like he can walk, he can kind of talk, but it was great because he just snatched this cookie off of the table, just walked into the sun porch, and his mom was just like, what you got there? And he just kept eating it. He was just like, I got a cookie. I what do you think this is? And I mean, they let him eat the cookie, so Hey, I don't question. I don't question. Uh, but I bet it was a good cookie. I bet he loved that cookie, and that cookie was so worth it. I mean, sometimes, like when you're younger, just taking a cookie, it's the small victories that count, and taking a cookie is one of them. I also just realized from my one statue over to my right, yeah, one of the pieces actually fell down from something that I did. So, oopsies, one of my anime statues. Yeah, which I unboxed it on. Oh, geez, I'm trying really hard to fix this. Come on, come on. Maybe looking at it would help. Okay, and I can't see the full screen, so I am sorry if that was a strange or unpleasant view, because that's not what I meant to do. Yeah, I did. I did anime unboxings on SGP. So there's that to look forward to. Okay, so this is an interesting one. So you guys know that I took a this like this class at school, and it was a vocational, and it's Cisco. So it's not the actual company, but it's about like routers and switches and stuff. Well, let's just say there was a lot of stuff that had happened, and there was just a lot of build up to this. I ended up being able to have permission to just be like, you know what, I'm done, I'm good. It's a little complicated, so I'm not going to explain it, just because it would delve into a lot of other stuff. But basically, I ended up being able to go to one of my favorite teachers' rooms in eighth period. And the thing is, it's just me, eighth period. That like no one else except for me and the two teachers, which was great and fantastic to just be able to spend those like last 12 days in there for eighth period. Now, keep in mind for this vocational, it was 3 periods. So the stuff I had to deal with, it was 3 periods every day, except for like weekends and days we had off. So it was just very, very frustrating for me. But this one girl came in as both of the teachers were gone. I can't remember what they were doing, but it's not my place to really find out what they're doing because they're just doing their jobs. And this one girl comes in and she's just like, did you see one of the two teachers? And I was like, no, they both left and they'll probably be back soon. She was like, oh, okay, well then I'll just leave a note. Just figuring, okay, well, it's probably some kind of like homework thing. But then I find out that she lost something. On the bright side, though, when she was walking back after writing this tiny little note, she ended up walking back to get her stuff, and she found it, and it was this ring, and she told me, she was just like, I'm so glad I just found this because this is my mother's ring, and if I had lost this ring, my mother would have killed me. And I was just like, oh my god, you brought something that valuable to school. Like that tiny and that valuable. If it's so valuable to your mom, you probably shouldn't buy it or not buy it. Borrow it and bring it to a place you could lose it. I mean, if she's okay with it, not my place to judge. So if she's okay with it, she is okay with it. So, um, okay. So over um this was for my sister's birthday not too long ago, and I have not said about this yet. So my mom was cooking. She was cooking a meal. Um, I forgot what it was. It was for the taco bar. She was cooking either the taco meat or the chicken, just getting it all ready for when our grandparents came over. And as she was cooking, she was just like, okay, well, I need to drain the stuff and, you know, it'll be good. But she put on an oven mitt in case, like, because she didn't want to burn herself. It makes a lot of sense. So I'm just sitting there holding the dog because by this point he was going behind everybody, which he does in the kitchen. And no matter where you are, he is just straight up right behind you at the most random points. So it's very possible to just accidentally step on his paw, or, the possible fear of something from the frying pan just dripping on him, which is why I was holding him, because I don't want hot grease to fall on the dog. That would hurt. So I'm just holding him. I'm just watching some video game stuff, and my mom just turns to the side and is just like, "Move, I'm on fire." Literally that calmly. And I'm like, "What? What?" Me, my brother, and my sister are just like, "Wait, what did you just say? You're on fire? What?" And she just literally walked over to the sink with the oven mitt on fire and just turned on the water and put it out and was just like, "Yeah, I was on fire." And we were just like, "What? How? What, Mom?" It was actually really funny because she literally said it so nonchalantly, just the way I said it, just like, "I'm on fire. Can't stop me." Yeah, something I will probably be talking about for a little bit, maybe, I don't know, is the guy that threw our package yesterday. We had a good 3 packages, which is always such a relieving, nice thing to see. Just 3 packages coming and just like, yes, we get to open things. I don't know why. I have this weird thing where even if I'll see like somebody who's not even living by us, like a package will be at their door, I'm just like, yes, they get that satisfaction of opening that and getting something. Maybe not exactly what they wanted. Maybe it's like a gift from like a family member, or like a book that they ordered or something, and they're just like, "Oh man, it's paperback instead of hardcover. How could they do this to me?" But just that satisfaction, it gives me a satisfaction knowing that somebody is going to have a nice surprise to just open their door and be like, "Yay, a box. Yay." Or they're just going to be like, "Little Johnny ordered another box from that online site. Johnny, why?" Either way, somebody's going to be happy. I hope. um, but it's just a nice feeling. And then, of course, can't forget the fact that the battery's low. That's great. That's great. I thought we'd have more than 30 minutes before this happened. Wow. Okay. Let me just do this really quick. Get really close to the camera. Hi. And plug this in, because why not? You guys get a great weirdly angled close up of the top of my head. Because why the heck not? There we go. There we go. It's all plugged in. It's all good. But one thing I cannot forget is the fact that I went to prom. Again, extremely complicated and very, very confusing. But there's also like the stuff after prom that we did. But in general, there's a few things that happened during prom, which are the people at my table ended up bringing a card game, being Uno. No, I'm okay with Uno. I'm fine with the game. I actually enjoy the game a lot and would probably play it pretty fair amount if I could. But it feels like kind of an interesting thing to bring to like a formal dance event, because you're supposed to be doing other things, but at least there was only like dancing and a photo booth. Long story short, there was some stuff that happened with the person I was supposed to go with, and that's why I went. So I was just like, don't really want to be at this table for too long. So I went with my brother and my friend Abby, and they were gracious enough to just let me be over there for the good time, enjoy, and not get overloaded. But when I was at the table, excuse me, and they were cleaning up right before I ended up leaving that table. Somebody ended up the person cleaning up dropped the knife on the floor. I saw that and she was just like, "Oh, I can get it." And in my head I'm like, "Okay, wait a minute. So you have not just one, not just two, not just three, not just four, like a good okay, maybe four or five plates. On top of that, you have excess food on each plate, a fork on a lot of them, and a few knives. Like, I mean, sure, you could put that on the table, but I'm sitting down in a chair with literally nothing in my hands where I can just go like that and pick it up. So I did because why shouldn't I? Why I know it's your job, but why should you have to go put everything down just to get one knife where maybe you leave to go back to get it and you forget where it was dropped or something, you know? So I picked it up for her and I just put it on the plates and she was like, "Oh, thank you." Like really, really kind of surprised. And I was just like, No big deal. Just, just trying to help you out." Oh, and the lighting is going all wonky. Lighting. Yeah, but I think I'm actually going to talk about a few other things. I don't know if I want to talk about the bowling. So I think I'm going to talk about one other thing, and then I'm going to end off the stream. So we had I know it's a shorter stream, but it's still a little bit. We've been gone for a while, so I don't want to do for too long. But today in mythology, we didn't do anything because we really can't with the computers being gone and all of that. So instead, we ended up playing a few games. Like we played bingo. Yay, bingo's fun, right? Wrong. I'm kidding. It's really fun. And I know there's going to be somebody that's going to be like, "But bingo is for old people. Why are young people playing it?" Nah. Yeah, it's a game that anyone can play. I know that somebody's probably going to say that, but anyone can play bingo, you know. When we were little in school we used to play bingo, which was cool. But the one thing about this bingo game, for whatever reason, it had this weird curse where it would have for almost every number one number away. At least for me and the person behind me, we both had that problem where it would just be like B17 and it'd be like, "We have B18, we have B18." Or for instance, you'd have four ready for that bingo, and it just wouldn't get there, and somebody else would get bingo before, and it's just such an unsatisfying feeling. However, the most unsatisfying feeling is the fact that two things. One, the first game, you had, I had at least three setups in the actual game where I just had to place down one token just to get a bingo. And you might just be like, "Okay, well that's a little annoying, but it could be worse." However, the person calling the numbers decided to show what the next two numbers would be and I got a fourth. I didn't get bingo, which would have been even more painful, but I got a fourth setup. It's so frustrating. Okay, one weird thing before I go onto the next thing is the fact that I don't know why, but the only time the person actually, and it's another student, by the way, but the only time he checked if anybody actually had a bingo was once. Anytime anybody else said bingo, he didn't question it. He was just like, okay. And everybody just cleared the boards and we started the next game. So I don't know why that is, if you're wondering, because usually you check to see if it's a bingo or not, but who knows? Who knows? The second one is that there was so many people who ended up joining, and somebody did get bingo, but we decided we're going to continue because the teacher had, like, the teacher wanted to continue with the same board, so it wasn't just like, okay, start over, start from scratch, have more time to do it, so it wasn't just like the same games over and over and over. And one very frustrating thing about this is that I needed, about this whole game, I needed one space, and that was I-22. This number has a significance only because of this game. And the thing is, as we kept going, I did get a bingo. And I did have a second setup for another number, but it wasn't enough for me. Because that whole game, the only number that wasn't being called, well, there was a few. We got through all of them, but there was the only number of being I-22 not being called. A reason why this was so aggravating to me was not because I didn't get a bingo how I wanted to. No. It was aggravating for the fact that all of the other I-20s were being called. Even the ones that were I-21 and I-23, but not I-22. No. Just had to squeak that right in there with my luck. And once I finally got it, I was like, finally. Because the one thing I wanted, I was just like, I just want to get I-22. That is all I freaking want. I want the satisfaction of placing a token down on this specific slot point in the card. Give me that satisfaction. And I ran out of tokens before being able to use that, get that satisfaction. So because we were all out of tokens, because everybody was using it, he actually gave me the little cards that he was reading the numbers off of. Excuse me. And there were these little tiles, so I probably should have said tiles. And for a few, I was able to put it down, and I got a good 2 bingos with those tiles, which, I mean, is good. But there was another person, and he was dissatisfied because the same thing was happening to him. But the funny thing is, the number had already been called about halfway through the game, and he just missed it. So who knows? He could have been the first to have bingo and just never realized it. I don't know. But it was a lot of fun overall. So yeah, if you have any stories like this, let me know down below. And if you liked this stream, then hit that like button. If you want to see more of this stuff, then subscribe, be all fanciful. And I will be streaming on SGP. It is ARMS, so I probably won't get as high of a view count just because ARMS is a newer game. A lot of people will be streaming it. But, we'll see how it goes, and hopefully it goes well. So thank you all for joining, and I hope to see you guys in another one. Keep your toes safe.